name is Nicole. Welcome to another exciting and informative episode of the Magnetica podcast. Thank you for creating the time and listening to us. I love the feedback we have been getting. Shout out to you, dear listener. And today I am happy to be having a conversation with one of the brilliant minds in Africa. He's definitely doing amazing stuff in the education and tech space. So, for purposes of context, I'll just say how we met. So, we met through a program that happens after high school, right when you're going to join into campus. He was an alumni, I think 4 or 5 years ahead of me. I was a junior alumni. Is that even right? Anyway, he was years ahead of me into the program. So that's how we met. We'll discuss more, but today the show is not about me, it's about this guest. So I will let him introduce himself and then we continue with the show. What's up, Ed Umekuaje? How have you been?
What's up, sir?
Mm-hmm.
I've been good. Yeah, just enjoying Nairobi, enjoying what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say about myself?
I want you to introduce yourself, say what you do. You've definitely said your name and everything else that you want the listeners to know about you.
All right. Okay, so my full name is Edwin Magema, but I go by Ed Magema, just, so that I look cool. I'm a startup founder. I'm a co-founder of a startup called Univus, which is a global platform for students using voice. We are allowing students to come together, connect, chat in real time, learn together using an audio application that we've built. We want this to go global. So that's how ambitious we are. That's how ambitious I am. We want Africans to be out there doing big things, and I hope that God's mercies and favor is going to be upon us so that we conquer this world with what we are doing. I'm a graduate of Harvard, graduated with a bachelor's degree in mathematics, pure mathematics, came back to Kenya, started as a consultant for about 2.5 years, then jumped ship to support a startup that was just fledgling at that time. They had nothing really. Help them to launch, grow, build teams, set up an office, set up operations in East Africa. And guess what? That startup is now worth $2 billion. I moved out quite early, so I'm not a billionaire or a millionaire, so people don't come at me. But so I've seen what success looks like. I'm building another success, and so I want as many people as possible to come support us, support what you're doing. Help us build a company that the world will see and enjoy using our product.
Amazing. I want us to start briefly where all of this started. You have a degree in math. I have never been able to understand how you went to school to do math, but anyway, that's just me. When did the desire to go study abroad start? Because you mentioned you went to Harvard to pursue a degree in math. When did that desire start? When did you find out you wanted to go to this school? Was it when you were in high school, primary? I don't know. Tell us about that.
You will be surprised. I never knew about Harvard, Yale, and these other schools up until I was done with college, and somebody gave me a call and said, "Listen, you performed so well in K.C.S.E. There are some really good schools that you should be thinking about applying to." So that's when I got to know about Harvard. People just started emailing me and all that, but I never knew about it. I never had a desire because I didn't have the knowledge, right? But one thing that I knew is I wanted to get into electrical and electronic engineering at JKUAT, which I got into, and then Harvard happened. So I made my applications, and that's how I got in. Then on math, math is a long story. I think I'm one person who likes to do hard things which challenge my intellect. So when I was trying to choose a concentration or a major, I was looking around, and there was economics, and there was biomedical engineering, and there was engineering, and I figured I want to really, really challenge my mind. All along since primary school, I had struggled really badly with math. You won't believe this. I used to copy my math homework. I was just really bad at it until I got to, I think, Form 3. And that's when I made up my mind and said, this can't be going on. I mean, I'm doing really well in other subjects. What could I be missing? And I observed what other really good students were doing, and they were studying and they were practicing. And I started doing the same, and it became so easy. So I figured out, what, this thing that had always been tormenting me for years is exactly what I'm gonna get a degree in, and that's the story.
I wouldn't have imagined you struggled with math in school, and then you just go to school to pursue math. How? So Ed, tell us about your journey in the US as a student. Briefly, tuambie, you go to Harvard. Obviously, it's an international school, so there's Indians, there's Americans, there's Chinese, there's Kenyans, there's Nigerians, there's everybody there. Tell us about it. First of all, did you experience culture shock? How was it for you? If you can paint a picture for someone probably where they're seated right now, they have the desire to go to Harvard. In brief, you can paint a picture for them, because I think Harvard will represent now the other international schools.
Yeah. So Harvard, I'll say it's not just an international university, it's the best university. And in the sense that there's only one Harvard. There are no satellite campuses. There's only one Harvard. If you want to go to Harvard, you go to Cambridge in Boston. It's a mix of feelings, actually. First of all, you asked about culture shock. Yes, there was a massive culture shock. For the first time, I was a black person in a sea of white people. So it felt really weird. And then there was food. The food was different. I felt like food back at home was way better, way delicious. The American food is bland, so I struggled there. Being somebody who likes good food, that was a real struggle. Then having to adopt to a new accent where I had to say water instead of water, the way we say here, was quite of a struggle. I didn't go to an international school here in Kenya, so you can imagine being an 844 person and having to shift that into a new accent and talk like an American was just a complete different world for me. It was interesting. I thought that it would be so easy for me, having been like a top student in the country and gotten used to A's, until I started seeing A minuses and B's on my on my transcript, and I was shocked and stressed. So it was intense. Harvard requires a lot from you, even if you're doing even if your concentration is writing, it requires so much from you. You are just as busy as a medical student back in Kenya. There is no time to go partying and doing tons of leisure stuff. You have to be studying, doing research projects, assignments every single day. So for example, on a Friday, if I wanted to go party, then I'll have to account for the hours that I'll lose and then recoup those on Saturday and Sunday. So it was that kind of trying to balance expectations that have been set so highly for the past 300 years and trying to get a social life as well as trying to get my grades up there. So it was super interesting. There's just a lot going on. It was a tough environment, but I guess we got tougher. Super competitive. Whenever we are going to apply for internships, everybody wanted the top spots. I remember this time when we were flown to New York City by McKinsey for an interview when I was a sophomore. And I met people from University of Pennsylvania, Columbia. Everybody was dressed up. Everybody was looking sharp and looking smart, talking smart, and everybody was trying to impress. I still remember that. It was crazy. So that's the environment that you're in. It's super competitive. You have to really change the way you operate, from how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you tackle your academics, how you prepare for your internships and your full-time jobs, job opportunities, to the expectation you have on your social life. Americans seem friendly on TV, but in real life they are not as friendly. So there's all that. But listen, we came out strong and we came out winning.
Yeah, speaking of coming out winning, you have a book. You're an author of a book, How to Get into Harvard in 3 Simple Steps. So I have had the honor and the privilege of reading your book. And till to date, one thing that stood out from the book is distinguishing excellence. That really stood out for me. And I think it's something that, every 20-something, everyone should adopt. Maybe you can speak about that, then you can even talk about the book and tell people where they can get it.
Yeah, so the book is available also per order basis. You can either reach out to me personally on my Instagram, especially just make an order, say I want this book to be delivered here at this time, make a payment of 1,000 and it will get to you. That specific phrase, distinguishing excellence, actually it's one of my best phrases in the book, and is actually a phrase that is used by Harvard admissions itself. They talk about this thing called distinguishing excellence. And what that means is anything that you're doing, you have to do it. It's not about perfection, but rather it's about just how good when compared to everybody else. You should be the person at the top at what you're doing. So, for example, if you're doing podcasting for 20-something-year-olds, then Magnetica podcast is at the top. Everybody wants to be listening. Everybody is anticipating the next episode of Magnetica podcast. So that's an example of what distinguishing excellence is. And it's because there's a certain vibe, there's a certain trait, there's a certain excellence, reputation, goodness, efficiency that is associated with wherever that thing is. Now, I'll give you an example. I think my distinguishing excellence was, at least when it comes to academics, was excelling way beyond the expectation of everybody else when I was in high school, in a very downtrodden, it actually wasn't a high school, a secondary school in the backsides of Pokotland. So this was a school that had no reputation for performance. 20 years, not even a single B. I know this might sound surprising for somebody who went to a national school like you, but it was crazy. No resources, and then all of a sudden there's this tiny boy who emerges top 10 in the country, and everybody is like, how did that happen? So the way that happened, and I speak about it in the book, was developing strategies and habits that resembled or rather reflected on excellence. So if it was about managing my time, I really managed my time really well. Had a very well set timetable. I knew what I wanted to study on a Monday and why I would want to study that thing on a Monday. So for example, I will do languages on Monday and Tuesday because I wanted to refresh. I wanted to polish my grammar and my diction so that if I go and study other subjects like the sciences and geography, I already have the diction. If I need to study something like denudation in geography, I already understand what denudation means. I understand what denude as a root word means. So I had strategies and I used logic for those strategies. And I think that's why math made so much sense for me, because it's a language of logic. Resting, I perfected the excellence of resting. I used to be a Seventh-day Adventist. So on Saturdays, from Friday 6 p.m. to Saturday 6 p.m., I will not do any work. No academics. I wouldn't touch anything. And it made the whole difference, because we as humans, we need to rest our mind at least for a certain time duration. And there's a reason there. They're both scientific and spiritual reasons for that. And I think I was lucky enough to understand what that meant, and it helped me. I didn't lose any time. In fact, I gained so much. So those kind of habits, small habits, or rather atomic habits, that lead to building, excellence when it comes to your macro behavior and habits. So that's what it really means.
I think you have expounded on it very well and given good examples. I want us to go back. So you went into Harvard, you finished school, you've graduated. I don't know if you worked in the US a bit, but I definitely know you came back to Kenya and you worked in a certain farm. And after that, after a period of time, you became an entrepreneur or a consultant now. Maybe you can tell us how your position, where you are at, where you're working, because the purposes of even having this conversation with you today is to help 20-somethings who are working to develop something of their own, right? Like Miss Phil here and Kim, we're working to develop our podcast. This is our innovation. And I know Gen Zs and millennials right now, we have a couple of them who they don't really want to be employed, or if they are employed, they want to be employed for a specific period of time. And then either on the side or after a couple of years, they want to become entrepreneurs or start something of their own. And this is where your latest innovation, the app, comes. But I would like you now to tell us, because you didn't jump into entrepreneurship. As far as I know the story, you'll correct me. You worked for some time, and then now you're an employer basically. So you can tell us about your experience while you're working and some of the things that you were keen to learn for this, that prepared you for this period where you're at now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll say this as a matter of record. The only reason why I went into employment was so I could pay my bills in Nairobi. But also, it turned out unintended consequences was that I learned a lot. I learned how businesses operate. I learned how leadership operates, especially from my former boss in the consulting company called Dalberg. Is one of the coolest bosses I've ever seen. So I learned those two elements, and which became instrumental in helping me to think, or rather rethink how I should build my own business. Of course, the business that I'm doing is completely different from my work experiences, but there are certain elements that I'm borrowing from those experiences to help me shape my business too. So I started off as a strategy consultant, supporting businesses to think about their operations, their change management, to think about their business models, to think about the risk environment and how they should reshape themselves to de-risk some of those risks, and many others. So we are supporting different types of clients, from governments to large NGOs, to private corporates, to social organizations, to people, bilaterals and multilaterals like the United Nations and USAID. So it was an incredible experience. There was even this one time when I went to Tanzania for a month, and I was traveling from Dar es Salaam to Morogoro, or is it Morogoro? And I learned a lot of good Swahili, by the way, that has stuck with me to date. And we were trying to help a client understand the agricultural value chain, and how we can help to build better training modules for smallholder farmers. So super interesting kind of projects that really brings to bear real life skills. Then after some few years, I think I got tired of working on theory. I wanted something more implementable. So at that time, it was coincidental that this young startup was just coming around by a friend from the US. And he reached out to me and said, can you help us test out this? Do you think this thing has potential? And I was going around and asking people to try it out. I was pitching it to my former colleagues at the consulting company, and very few people were paying attention to it until we started growing. I moved out of the consulting. I helped to launch the company, register it across East Africa, and we started growing. Within a year, we had grown to 1 million customers. We had raised ton sheets of money. I think by the time I was leaving, they were raising about an equivalent of 3 billion Kenya shillings. So we did fantastic work with that company. It's now worth $2 billion. It's massive, but I had to move on because I had a bigger calling, which I felt like there's something in education that is not being done right. And I think I can be the person to do it. I've always believed in this sense, this divine calling, that I'm meant to do something great, something global. And I have never at one point seen myself as just somebody living, surviving in Kenya. I've always seen myself as someone doing something worthy of global recognition, something worthy of global value, and just giving back to humanity in a way that nobody else has done before. So that's why I decided to leave my work, which was paying me more than 500,000 Kenya shillings, with all the trappings of that job, and launch into this new type of education, which we're calling social learning, where students, learners are the ones to drive their own learning, just the way we used to learn from each other as kids, with role play and playing chababa chamama and all that. Like, bring fun back to learning and have young people drive that learning, and use technology technology as an intermediary for that process. So that's what we're currently doing. We just launched last month, and we've already signed up more than 200 people. People are using it quite well. We are growing on that front. We have allowed at least 5 universities in Kenya to come on board, from University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University, JKUAT, USIU, and Strathmore. So we will be allowing top African universities to come on board in the next phase. And then after that, bring on board, once we publish our iOS, the version for iPhone, we will be allowing Ivy Leagues, Harvard and Yale and Columbia and Cornell and Stanford and MIT to come on board, so that students here in Kenya and Africa will be able to meet some of the best students from the world. And best of the best doesn't mean just academically. These are also some of the most fun people. They're highly talented, highly exposed. Some of them are kids from billionaire families. Some of them are going to be leaders. Some of these kids are going to be the presidents of the United States. So that exposure, those connections, that we want to help students, young people, to be able to create powerful networks, and at the same time be conducting exchange of ideas and knowledge and learning. If you're somebody who's studying civil engineering, why not do that with somebody from another school known for it? And what that does is that it just makes you a better future civil engineer. If you're doing computer science, why not study with students or discuss ideas? It could be about the metaverse. It could be about NFTs with students from MIT and Harvard and Stanford, and Carnegie Mellon, some of the schools best known for computer science. That just ends up making you a really good computer science student. If you're somebody doing international relations, study with students from USIU. It just makes you a better IR student. And the reason why that makes a lot of sense is because at the end of the day, you're not just a better student and a better future career person in that field, but also you get to know who is going to go into that field and potentially be your boss, or potentially be your colleague. So you start early, in freshman year, and that relationship, those networks, those interactions stay with you for as long as you want, even forever. If you're going to be an alumni at Harvard, you're going to be chatting with people on Univus for years to come. And not just Harvard, but also with students from different parts of the world that you will have met. So that's the vision that we have, and we think it can only get better after that.
All right, that's interesting. So I like going practical. So there's this app, it's called Univus. And then, so when you go to the app, let's say I'm a student at USIU, right? So I'm a student at USIU. I go to the app. When I go to the app, I'll be able to connect to another student in another university.
Yes. So what happens? So this is how it's working at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up. You download the application from Play Store. So we're on Android for now, but you're going to be bringing iOS soon. Download the application. Sign up with your student email, because it's a student-only platform. And then there's a place where there's a button called Start a Hub. So you can start a hub on any interesting topic that you want to speak with other people about, and they'll join you as they're browsing around, right? Or you could even just invite your friends so that they join you in that discussion, and other people will see it and they will join you. So people will be browsing around on the homepage and seeing all these different types of discussions going on. Now, as you're speaking and exchanging ideas and knowledge with other students on a specific hub based on a topic, you'll be able to click on other people's different profiles. So let's say I click on Fee's profile. She's part of the speakers in that hub, or she's part of the audience. So I can still click on your profile, see your bio, what you're interested in, where you go to school, what you study, etc., depending on what you've written on your bio. And then I can follow you. So there's an option to follow you, And in the future, whenever you start a hub, I'll be notified so that we can keep on engaging. Whenever there's something important that maybe there's something related to you, maybe you've joined another hub, I'll be notified and I'll join you there, and we can continue our interaction and exchanging of ideas and knowledge. So that's the idea for now. And there are more features to help deepen that interaction between users to come.
I think everybody wants to know, will I get help to do assignments? We are all students. We want someone to help us think through this assignments.
Of course, yes, but this is different from how we think about it currently in Kenya. So there's been this controversy about Kenyan students helping other students to do their assignments and projects and get paid for it. We are not going to do that. This is a platform that we want integrity and to be a huge part of it. So the way we are thinking about students helping each other is through these, discussions in groups and one-on-one, instead of somebody actually doing that assignment for you. So let's say you don't understand a concept in journalism or in physics, then you actually start a hub with a topic on that concept so that it's clear what is supposed to be discussed. And somebody who's really good will see that topic. If they're interested in it, they will join and they will contribute. So imagine if 2, 3, 4, 5 of you are speaking about one topic, going deep into it, as opposed to just 1 or 2 of you. That helps you to really understand that topic. And I think at the end of the day, you won't need to cheat. You'll only need to interact with more people for you to become really good at the concept.
Okay, it is good you made that clear because when you explained, people will be, students versus students. Obviously, everybody's gonna be like, will I get help in my assignment? So thank you for clarifying that. And now I'd like you to tell us. You've said where we can find the app on Play Store. I think I have mine, only that I wasn't able to log in because it said school email. Yeah, but you can find the app on Play Store, Univus, and it's written early access. Right? It's that one, right?
With
yes.
An orange, there's an orange, it has an orange logo. So there's another Univus by Singapore, that one. This one is a social platform, early access, so Univus.
Yes, chat with Ed on his Instagram page, pale kwa DM. Serious questions only. I think that's clear. Yeah, so
any questions you have about.
Okay. So now that you are in this entrepreneurial space, there are definitely 20-somethings, as I mentioned earlier, who desire to be entrepreneurs. Some of them have already started this journey. What are like the 5 things you have learned and you can tell someone who is starting? Let's say, yes, they're starting or they're thinking about joining the space of being an entrepreneur. They have an idea and everything. What are like the 5 things you can tell them that you learned probably as a consultant that you're still learning right now?
The first and super important is be obsessed with your customer, completely understand who they are, and work for them, because without your customer, there is no startup, there is no making money, there is no growing. So be obsessed with your customer. The second is be obsessed with the problem that you're solving, not the solution. Today, Univus might look cool. It's an audio application, it's new, it's novel. But tomorrow you might be forced to develop a new innovation, new technology to solve the problem that you're seeing, which is a disconnection between students because of barriers, geographic, digital, and institutional barriers. So be obsessed with the problem, because once you have the problem and it exists and it's real and users and customers care about it, you can develop any solution, even solutions that nobody has seen before. And we have seen this. Facebook was novel. It came, it solved a problem that was so innate between people. People are not connected online, and Facebook came and made that connection. Instagram came and it allowed us to feel really good about sharing our videos and photos. Microsoft came and it built software for computers. Apple came and it redesigned how it gave us some really good hardware and software design and improved how we interact with gadgets. So just focus on the problem and the solution can be anything. So that's the second. The third is patience. Patience is the game. Patience is the name of the game. Play for the long term, even as you focus on your strategies and tactics. Patience is really helpful when you're dealing with human beings because we all come from different places. Our temperaments are different. So you have to be patient. I've learned to be patient when building this company. And I think it's one of the most important traits that I've developed. I never used to be patient, but now patience is almost my second name. You asked about 5, right?
Yes, 5.
The fourth one would be, as somebody else put it, be stubborn on the vision and flexible on the detail. Our vision is to connect the student world at a global level. Now, the details of how to do that again really doesn't matter. It can always change, whether that's based on technology, whether that's based on design, whether that's based on how you're acquiring our customers. It doesn't matter. What really matters is that we achieve that vision. And then the last one is have fun while doing it. I mean, even as we are hard at work building this, I'm enjoying interacting with young people, answering their questions on our Instagram pages, on my own WhatsApp, even on calls, during physical meetings. Be there for your customer. Have fun because life is short. I mean, it's not that serious.
I definitely agree with the last part. Have fun while at it. It also makes the process enjoyable to you and more open to making mistakes. That's what I say when you just know that I'm also here to learn as much as I'm solving a problem to people. So a lot of entrepreneurs, when they want to scale up, we need money at the end of the day, funding. How do people go about this? What are like the funding opportunities? And this is specifically for the young people in Kenya because it's a struggle trying to raise capital for the innovations and the ideas that you have. So maybe you can speak about the opportunities that you know exist for every 20 something listening.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, definitely funding is a tough game. It's a tough nut to crack. And it's always gonna be that way. And the simple reason is because yes, you start a business, you have an idea, but an idea can only go so far. You have to translate that idea into something tangible, has meaning, and gives value to somebody that you want money from, right? So here is how to think. Here is how to think about it. If you have an idea, that's not enough. Everybody can have an idea. You can sleep today and dream about an idea and think it's going to be the best thing ever. But if that idea is not translated into a product or service that is serving customers and generating money, it's worth nothing, right? So the way to do this is to, yes, have an idea, but translate it into a product or a service that is actually out there serving people. Get traction. Traction means customers are using your products or they're using and paying for your products. So if you can show revenue or you can show customer growth, that is something that investors are really interested in. It signals that people want this. And if a few people, maybe say a couple hundred people already want it, it already signals that potentially as humans, we share certain traits like Fee has a need for food and shelter and clothing, same as Ed. So there are shared traits between us as humans. So basic human needs are there. And if these needs are shared for your product, then your product has a huge potential to grow. So show traction, show revenue, and investors will come. In fact, don't stop chasing investors for money when you only have an idea. Get traction. And as I've said, traction is revenue and user growth. Investors will chase you instead of the other way around.
Wow, I like that. I'm also learning traction and growth. Definitely, anyone, when you stand on the other side of an investor, you want to invest in something that you see has the potential of making value. And if it's already making some value, then it becomes easier to sell. Thank you so much for that, Ed. So I will jump on the other questions that we normally ask guests when they come. And the first question is, how can you describe your 20s so far?
Past my 20s. But they were amazing. They were fun. They were wild. They were free-spirited. They were explorative. They were exposed. They were wide-eyed and naive. And yeah, they were good times. So there are no regrets. Just fond memories to look back to.
Okay, and in one word, how would you say? If you were to sum all that you said, what's the one word you would use?
Energetic.
All right. That's nice. What is the one thing that you learned in your 20s? You feel like everyone should have that or should learn or should know. What is the one thing that you learned was like, wait a minute, okay.
It was trust but verify. Don't trust humans blindly. Don't trust processes blindly. Trust but verify. And also what that by extension, what that means is question everything.
Interesting. So thank you so much, Ed, for creating the time to come and share with us and speak to 20-somethings who listen to this podcast. And shout out, by the way, guys, we have someone who listens to our podcast between the age of 50 to 60. Thank you so much, whoever you are. We really appreciate that you take the time to learn from us young people as we learn together. Thank you so much. Ed, asante sana. Any final words that you have?
Any final words? Go ye and have fun. Yeah, have fun. Life is for the living. What the hell?
What the hell? Yeah. But thank you so much for creating the time. Guys, remember, if you want to order his book, How to Get into Harvard in 3 Simple Steps, and it's not just a book for you to read if you want to go to study abroad, definitely. If you want to, it's a must-have, but also if you just want to expand your mind and learn some things, we've touched on distinguishing excellence, which I think everyone should totally apply that in their life, whether you're applying to go to school, you're working, whatever you're doing, you need to be excellent. And the new app, if you are a student, I wish I was in campus, but if you're a student, that is a must-have. Univus app. Make sure you check it out, Pale Play Store. And if you have any questions, I will link Ed's Instagram and LinkedIn on the description for this podcast so that you can go and ask questions. Serious questions only. Sinaibishe tafadhali, 20-something. Let's learn. And have fun while at it. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can share your feedback on how this episode was. Tell me, Pale, and also the next guest that you would like me to invite and what topic of conversation we should have. Thank you so much. My co-host Kim says hello. She was not able to join us in this recording, but amewasalimia